Tonight, our story is called The Vault of Slow Things. Beneath an old town museum, on nights when the fog presses thick against the windows, the vault keeper walks 3 stone chambers where things change too slowly for anyone to see. The vault is older than the museum. The museum was built around the idea of the vault, the way a house is sometimes built around an old tree. Tonight the keeper carries a single brass lamp and a leather-bound observation log down to the iron-banded oak door at the bottom of the stairs. The walk down is the same as it always is. The keeper has done this for many years. They know each step by feel, each turn of the iron key by sound. The order of things has not changed in a long time. The town has gone soft inside its own fog. The streets have given up their edges. The lampposts have become suggestions of lampposts, and the buildings have become suggestions of buildings. And the old museum at the corner of the small square has folded its shoulders inward and closed its doors for the night. The keeper is on the landing now. They have come in through a small side door at the back of the museum, walked the dark hall, descended a short flight of plain wooden stairs, and arrived at this small square of stone where a single tall brass lamp waits on its iron stand. The lamp is unlit. The keeper carries with them a small box of long matches, a leather-bound observation log tied with a simple linen cord, and a cloth that smells faintly of lamp oil. The fog has not reached them down here. It has stopped at the museum's outer windows, the way it always does. They set the log on a wooden shelf built into the wall. They take a long match from the box. They strike it against the iron stand, and the small flare of light is, for a moment, the only thing in the room. Then they touch the match to the wick of the brass lamp, and the wick catches, and the amber light begins to gather. The keeper waits. They do not adjust the wick yet. They let the flame find its own height. They watch the flame settle into a small, steady leaf of light. And then they turn the small brass key at the side of the lamp and bring the wick down a quarter turn, and the leaf of light becomes a little smaller and a little calmer. Above them, the fog presses against the museum windows without a sound. The streets are empty. The square is empty. The dampness of the fog has settled into the iron lampposts and the wooden benches, and into the stone curbs, and the town has gone into the kind of quiet that only fog can make. Down here on this landing, the air is different. It is colder than upstairs, but not cold in a sharp way. It is the long, even cold of a place that does not change much. It is the cold of stone that has been stone for a very long time. The iron-banded oak door is in front of the keeper. It is a heavy door, taller than them, with 3 thick iron bands across its width, and a single iron ring set into the wood. The wood is dark with age and rubbed smooth in the places where hands have always touched it. The keeper takes a small iron key from a peg beside the door. They fit the key into the lock. They turn it slowly. The lock makes a low, soft sound, more felt than heard, and then the door eases inward by the smallest amount. The keeper takes the lamp by its tall brass handle. They lift it from the stand. The lamp's weight is familiar in their hand. They push the door fully open, and the door swings on hinges that have been oiled across years, until they make almost no sound at all. The door opens onto the first chamber. The keeper steps through, and the air changes. The change in the air is slight, but the keeper notices it the way they always notice it. The landing's air is cool. The first chamber's air is cooler still and drier, and it carries a smell that is not exactly any one smell. It is the smell of old paper and old leather and faint lamp oil, and the long mineral quiet of stone. It is a smell that the keeper has known for years, and that has not changed in those years, and that they are confident will not change in the next year either. The smell settles around them, and they stand very still inside it for a moment. The way one stands when arriving in a familiar room and waiting to be recognized. The first chamber is long. The lamp's amber light reaches into it, but does not reach the far end. The walls are pale stone, dressed long ago by hands that knew their work, and the floor is flat stone with a worn line down its middle where countless feet have walked. Along both walls, low shelves of pale would hold flat boxes and shallow drawers, and above those shelves, glass cases set into the stone hold the chamber's slow papers. Old maps with their colors fading toward gray, manuscripts whose ink has gone from black to brown, to the soft brown of dry leaves, folios whose corners have rounded themselves down through 100 years of air. The keeper does not look at them all at once. The keeper does not look at them at all yet. They are still arriving. They place the lamp on a tall wooden stand just inside the door, where it always goes first when they enter. The stand is there for that purpose. The lamp's amber light fills the part of the chamber nearest the door, and the rest of the chamber sinks back into a softer, deeper amber, and beyond that, into a dimness that the lamp does not try to reach. The keeper does not need it to reach. They know the chamber by step, by hand, by smell. The lamp is for the small near things, and the small near things are what the keeper has come for. They untie the linen cord on the leather log. The cord is soft from years of being untied. They open the log and lay it flat on a small reading bench just under the lamp, where the amber light pools onto the page. The log is half full. There are pages of small, careful notes, dated by year and by month, each entry only a line or two, each line set down in the same patient hand. The keeper does not read the past entries now. They turn forward to a clean page. They take a small pencil from a slim wooden tray on the bench. They sharpen it with a small folding knife, only a little. They set the pencil beside the log. They stand back. They let the chamber finish settling around them. The fog above is thicker now. The keeper cannot see the fog from down here, but they know the look of it from earlier, and they carry that look with them. The streets gone soft, the lampposts gone soft, the square turned into a slow, milky quiet. Up there, the town is wrapped, and down here, the vault is wrapped inside the town, and the keeper is wrapped inside the vault, like a folded thing inside a folded thing inside a folded thing. The lamp's flame leans 1/8 of an inch as the door behind them eases the last small amount on its hinges and rests against the iron stop. The flame straightens. The amber light steadies. The keeper takes a single slow breath in and a single slow breath out. They begin the way they always begin. They step to the first glass case on the left wall. The case holds a single old map, a town plan from a century the keeper does not need to remember the number of, and the map has been here longer than the keeper has been keeping. The case glass is clean. The keeper does not need to clean it. They look at the map, and they look at the map's edges, and they look at the small brass plate set below the case that records, in fine letters, what the map is. They do not touch the case. They only look. They look the way one looks at an old friend met in a quiet hour, with no need to speak. The lamp's amber light is enough for what they need. Color in the case is muted, the way color always is at this hour, and the map's faded lines are softer still in this light. The keeper turns to the leather log on the small bench. They take up the pencil. They write a single line. The line says, in their patient hand, that the map is as it was. They set the pencil down. They return to the case. The map will be as it was again next time. The keeper has been writing this same line in different small wordings for many years. The line itself is a kind of slow change. The wordings shift. The map does not. They move to the second case. The second case holds a folded letter under glass. Its paper the soft cream of old linen, its handwriting brown as dry leaves, its folds set in long ago and never undone again. The keeper notes the letter's color. They note the letter's folds. They note the small place at the lower corner where, perhaps over a decade, the paper has yellowed by a shade. They write a small note in the log. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They return to looking. They are not in a hurry. They will never be in a hurry in this room. Outside, far above, the fog presses on without complaint. A clock somewhere in the museum, 3 floors up, makes a small and distant sound that the keeper does not exactly hear, but somehow knows has happened. Time in the first chamber is a slow companion, not a master. The keeper is the master of nothing. They are only a careful watcher of papers that are themselves only careful watchers of years. The lamp burns its small, steady leaf of light. The amber pool steadies on the page. The keeper turns toward the third case. The third case holds a small brown ledger from a vanished merchant house. Its pages are open to a spread that has been open for a very long time, set there by a previous keeper, whose name the current keeper does not need. The pages are listed columns of weights and goods in a hand that took its time. The ink has gone from black to a dim, soft brown. The columns are still legible. The keeper looks at one number, low on the left, that they always look at first. The number is unchanged. They look at one word near the top right that they look at second. The word is unchanged. They are not checking the past. They are only greeting it. They write a line in the log. They set the pencil down again. They walk the few slow steps to the next case along the same wall. They have been in the chamber now for a small handful of minutes, but already the rhythm of the work has begun to settle them. The walking is slow. The looking is slow. The writing is slow. The lamp's amber light on the open page of the log holds steady. The chamber's quiet holds steady. The vault holds them both, the chamber and the keeper, the way the town holds the museum, and the fog holds the town. They turn no pages. That is the rule of the first chamber, written on a small wooden plaque set into the wall above the bench. In the old-fashioned wording of the keeper, before this one. Touch only what must be touched. Open only what must be opened. The room itself is the work, and the work is the noticing, and the noticing is the work. The keeper has read the plaque so many times they no longer read it. They simply move the way the plaque asks them to move. Above ground, somewhere far across the small town, a single bell, distant and dampened by fog, makes one small sound. The sound does not arrive in the chamber. The keeper feels it only as a kind of softening in the air, the way one sometimes feels the time without hearing it. They keep walking. The fourth case, the fifth, each holds a thing of paper. Each is read in the way the keeper reads paper, which is mostly with the eyes alone, and only sometimes with a careful breath of cool air guided across a glass surface to test for the smallest fog of damp. There is no damp tonight. The chamber is dry, as it always is. The papers rest as they always rest. The work begins to slow into itself. The keeper has only just started, and the chamber is long, and the cases will take much of the night. And there are still 2 more chambers after this one. Time itself is the material here. The keeper handles it with the same care they bring to the papers. They do not rush a single step. The lamp's amber pool moves only when they move it, only when they lift it again from its tall wooden stand and carry it forward to the next bench, which they will do soon, but not yet. For now, the light stays where it is, and the keeper's slow walk takes them from case to case under the same near-distant amber. They reach the sixth case. The sixth case holds a manuscript page taken from an old book that has long since been rebound. The page kept here as a witness to its earlier life. The page is half a hand of writing in a careful quill hand, half a small drawing of a flower whose colors have settled into earth tones. The keeper looks at the colors. The colors are as they were. They look at the small worm mark in the lower margin. The mark is as it was. They write a line in the log and walk back and set the pencil down and walk forward again and stand at the seventh case. A single drop of cool air slides down from somewhere high in the stone ceiling and touches the back of the keeper's hand. The drop is cool, but not cold. The keeper does not flinch. They breathe out very slowly, and the fog of their breath is faintly visible in the lamp's pool of amber. They are warm enough. The wool of their coat holds the small heat their body has made on the way down the stairs. The chamber's stone is cool. The chamber's air is cool. The papers are cool. The lamp is warm. Everything is in its proper temperature. They move to the seventh case, and to the eighth, and to the ninth. The work folds inward. The keeper stops noticing themselves noticing. They are simply a presence walking softly along a stone floor, beside a wall of glass cases, beside a row of slow papers that are beside a row of careful years. Outside, above all of this, the fog does its slow, patient settling into every small alley and against every small window pane, into the cracks of the cobblestones in the square, and into the wet wood of the museum's outer benches. The town breathes its long, quiet breath. The vault, deep beneath the town, breathes back. The amber light on the open log page holds steady. The chamber is patient. The keeper is patient. The papers are patient. Nothing is in any hurry. Nothing has ever been in any hurry here. The keeper writes another small line in their patient hand. The pencil makes a soft, mineral whisper against the paper. They set the pencil down. They take a slow breath. They begin to walk. The keeper carries the lamp to a second wooden stand set further along the left wall, where the cases bend around a low stone arch into a deeper part of the first chamber. They lift the lamp, walk the few measured paces, and place the lamp on the second stand. The amber pool moves with them, finds the second stand, and settles. The shadows that were behind them are now in front of them. The shadows that were in front of them are now behind them. The keeper does not look back. The amber light reaches forward to the next set of cases, and the keeper steps forward with it. In this part of the chamber, the cases hold larger papers. There are old town maps drawn on hides that have softened to the color of cream. There are charts of coastlines that the town's traders once cared about. There are folded broadsides whose edges have rounded over slow decades. The keeper stands before the first large case and looks at the map within. The map is a plan of the town as it was perhaps 200 years ago, drawn in careful lines with small drawings of buildings that no longer stand. The lines have faded. The drawings have faded. The colors that were once filled in with dyes have lifted away one breath at a time, year by year, until what is left is mostly the soft brown of the page itself. The keeper has known this map for a very long time. They look first at the river. The river is drawn in pale blue, a blue that has gone almost gray. They look next at the small church marked at the center of the town. The church is drawn in 3 small lines and a soft cross. They look next at the line that marks the old wall around the town. The wall has been gone in life for longer than the keeper has been alive. The wall is still here on the map. The map remembers. They write a small line in the log. The line says, again in their patient hand, that the map is as it was, with the small note that the western edge has perhaps softened by a touch since the last entry of last winter. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They walk to the second case. The second case holds a coast chart, much older, drawn for a sea that the town once traded across. The The keeper looks at the small dotted line that marks an old shipping route. They look at the small drawing of a fish in the lower right corner. They look at the soft fold at the chart center, where the parchment has settled into a curve over the long years. They write another line. They set the pencil down. They walk to the third case. They are aware, faintly, of the lamp's small breath, the small in and out of the flame as the wick draws oil and gives back light. The breath of the flame is a slow breath, slower than the keeper's own. They have noticed this many times, and they notice it again now. The flame and the keeper, the chamber and the lamp and the papers, all of it breathing at slightly different paces, and all of it staying in the same single quiet. The third case in this section holds a single old letter, sealed once with red wax that has cracked into 3 small pieces over the decades. The wax pieces are still there, held in a small recess in the case. The letter has been opened long ago, but it has been kept in its folded shape. The paper around the seal has faded into a soft cream. The keeper looks at the wax pieces. The pieces are as they were. They look at the small dark mark on the paper where perhaps a thumb pressed long ago. The mark is as it was. The folds are as they were. The keeper takes up the pencil and writes a line in the log and sets the pencil down and steps back. The lamp burns. The amber pool steadies. The chamber waits. The keeper begins to walk along the right wall, where the lower shelves hold flat boxes of folded charts and shallow drawers of slow ephemera. They do not open the boxes. They do not open the drawers. They only walk and look and pause in the way the chamber asks them to walk and look and pause. The line of worn floor beneath their boots feels like a path that has chosen them as much as they have chosen it. They follow the path. The path follows them. They come to a small alcove built into the right wall. The alcove holds a single tall glass case, taller than the keeper, in which a folded banner of old town colors waits. The banner has been here longer than any other thing in the chamber. Its colors have moved through several generations of paleness, until what was once a bold red is now a soft red-brown, and what was once a strong green is now a green that has gone a little toward gray. The keeper stands before the alcove. They do not write yet. They look. The looking is the work. The work is the looking. After a while, they take up the pencil and write a small line about the banner's lower edge, where perhaps a thread has loosened by a hair since the entry of the autumn before. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They turn from the alcove and walk back toward the second wooden lamp stand. They do not lift the lamp yet. They are not done with this part of the chamber. They have only walked along the cases. There is a small wooden cabinet built into the wall just beyond the alcove, with a thin glass door that holds 3 slow scrolls in 3 slow brackets. They walk to the cabinet. They look at each scroll in its bracket. The first scroll is wound around a wooden rod whose ends have darkened with age. The second scroll is wound around a rod whose ends are pale where they meet the air. The third scroll is wound around a rod that is nearly the same color as the parchment it holds. None of the scrolls are unwound. The keeper has never unwound them. The keeper before the keeper had not unwound them either. They are looked at, only looked at, season after season after season. The keeper writes a small line about the third scroll, where the parchment has settled by a fraction further into the bracket than it had the year before last. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They step back. They breathe. In the breath, the keeper hears nothing in particular. The chamber is one of those rooms whose silence is not empty, but woven. There is the small sound of the lamp's wick. There is the small sound of their own coat shifting as they breathe. There is the very faint sound of the iron-banded oak door behind them and to their left as it rests against its iron stop. There is, somewhere very far away, the slow sound of the museum's old building settling, a sound less heard than felt, as wood and stone exchange small adjustments through the long fog night. The keeper does not interpret the sounds. They simply allow them. They lift the lamp from the second stand. The amber pool comes up with the lamp, and the keeper turns and walks back along the worn line in the floor toward the door until they reach the first wooden stand. They place the lamp on the first stand. They turn left, where there is a small archway in the stone wall, and through the archway, A low stone passage of perhaps 10 paces leads to the next iron-banded oak door. The lamp's amber light reaches into the passage, but does not reach the second door. The keeper takes the lamp again from the first stand. They walk into the passage. The change in the air begins as they step into it. The passage is narrower. The stone is the same stone, but it has been worked differently here, with rougher edges that the keeper's hand can feel as they walk past it. They have walked the passage countless times. They know the small chip in the stone at shoulder height where the wall bulges by a finger's width. They know the small worn place in the floor where generations of keepers ago the floor was patched with a slightly darker stone. They walk over the patch. They walk past the chip. They reach the second iron-banded oak door. This door, like the first, is heavy and dark, with 3 thick iron bands and a single iron ring. The wood is rubbed smooth by the same generations of hands. The keeper takes the second small iron key from a peg beside the door. They fit the key in the lock. They turn it slowly. The lock makes its small, low sound. The door eases inward. The air on the other side is different again. The keeper stands at the threshold and breathes once, evenly, before they step through. The second chamber waits beyond. The lamp's amber light leans forward into it, and the keeper follows the light. The second chamber is a different room from the first. The shape is similar, long, low-ceilinged, with worked stone walls. But the smell is changed, and the sound is changed. The smell, instead of paper and leather, and the dry quiet of pages, is the smell of old metal, the dry mineral smell of bronze that has gone green, the soft rust smell of iron that has slept in glass, the quiet undertone of stone that has held all these metals for long decades. The sound is changed because the room is laid differently. There are stone shelves along the walls, set with pale wooden trays, and on the trays sit the chamber's slow metals. The trays soften the sound of footsteps, but the metals themselves give the room a deeper, fuller silence than the first chambers. The keeper steps fully into the chamber. They place the lamp on the wooden stand just inside the door, where the second chamber's first stand has waited for many keepers. The amber pool finds its place on the stone floor, and the green of the bronzes begins to take on a small warmth at its surface. Bronze, in cool stone air, goes a slow green over decades. The chamber holds many of these green bronzes. The amber light of the lamp meets the green of the bronzes, and the meeting is one of the things the keeper has come to see. They stand for a moment with the lamp set down, and the pencil and the log moved to a small wooden bench just under the stand, where the chamber's bench has waited for them. They look first at the largest piece in the room, which is a bronze bell hung in a low wooden frame against the right wall. The bell has not been rung in many years. It hangs in its frame, silent and slow. Its surface has gone almost entirely green. The keeper looks at it without moving any closer. The amber light, even from the door, picks up the green and warms it without changing it. They step toward the bell. They walk slowly. The keeper has never rung this bell, and they will not ring it tonight. They will only stand near it and look. They reach the bell's frame. They stand close enough to see the small variations in the green, which are not exactly variations the eye can name. The green is paler near the rim, where perhaps a hand pressed lightly long ago. The green is deeper at the upper curve, where perhaps the air over the years has settled a little differently. The bell as a whole is the green of slow water in a stone basin, the green of a forest pond, the green of a long-held breath. The keeper does not touch the bell. They only look. After a slow breath, they walk back to the bench by the door. They take up the pencil. They write a small line in the log. The line says that the bell is as it was, with a small note that the green at the lower curve has perhaps deepened by a hair since the entry of last spring. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They walk to the next piece, which is a bronze bowl set on a pale wooden tray, the bowl shallow and wide, and the green on its inner surface darker than the green on its outer. The keeper has known the bowl for a long time. They look at the inside, where there is a small ring of darker green near the rim, and they look at the outside, where the patina is even and pale. They write a line. They set the pencil down. They walk to the next piece. The next piece is a small bronze figure of a horse, no larger than a hand, set on its own small wooden plinth in a glass case. The horse is mostly green now. The eyes of the horse, which were once perhaps inlaid with a small stone, are now small empty dimples that have themselves gone green. The keeper looks at the horse. The horse looks at nothing. They write a line. They set the pencil down. The lamp's amber pool steadies on the page. The chamber's silence holds. Outside, above all this stone and all this metal and all this patient quiet, the fog continues to gather and settle. The streets of the small town are softer than soft. The lampposts are softer still. The square is a milky place. The town does not know about the keeper. The keeper does not need it to. They have only the chamber, the metals, the lamp, the log, and the slow patient walking from one piece to the next. The keeper crosses to the left wall. The left wall holds the iron pieces. The iron pieces are kept under a different kind of glass, sealed glass cases set into the stone shelves, designed to slow further the iron's slow rusting. Most of the iron is older than the bronze. Most of the iron has long since become a soft red-brown across its surfaces. The keeper looks first at a small iron tool whose original purpose is no longer recorded, kept in its glass case under a small brass plate that says only what the case has always said, which is, in old-fashioned letters, that the tool was given to the museum by a long-vanished family of the town. The tool is rusted. The rust is even. The rust is patient. The keeper writes a line. They set the pencil down. They walk along the iron pieces. There is a small iron lock, no longer attached to anything, that has rusted into a single curled shape. There is a long iron pin whose head has rounded itself down into a soft button. There is a flat iron blade, perhaps from a plow, whose surface is so deeply rusted that it is no longer truly metal at the surface, but a kind of slow brown stone. The keeper looks at each in turn. They write a small line for each. The lines are short. The pencil makes its soft mineral whisper. The chamber holds. They walk back to the bench. They place the pencil down. They take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. They lift the lamp from the stand. They carry it across the chamber to a second wooden stand set against the back wall, beside another small bench. The amber pool moves with them. The shadows shift. The bronze bell is now behind them. The iron pieces are now behind them. The back wall holds the chamber's heaviest pieces, and the amber light reaches forward into them as the keeper sets the lamp on its second stand. The heaviest pieces along the back wall are kept on low stone benches. The benches are built directly out of the wall. The metal does not have to be moved or supported. There is an old bronze gate hinge here. The hinge is hand-forged. It has gone green across its long curve. There is a flat bronze plaque beside it. The plaque was once attached to a building. Its letters have softened into the green. Only the most careful looking will read them. There is a small bronze cup at the end. The cup has a rim rounded down by long handling. The handling has long since stopped. The keeper looks at the hinge. The hinge is as it was. They look at the plaque. The plaque is as it was. They look at the cup. The cup is as it was. They write 3 small lines in the log, one for each. They set the pencil down. They walk slowly back to the bench by the door. The log waits open under the lamp. They sit on the bench. The bench is stone. A thin wooden plank rests on top for warmth. The keeper sits and lets their breath even. They are not tired. They have not done enough to be tired. The chamber is the kind of place where sitting is part of the work. To watch the slow metals, one must sometimes sit with them. The keeper sits. They look across the chamber at the bronze bell. The amber light finds the green softly. The bell hangs, silent and slow. The keeper watches it without watching it. After a long, long minute, the keeper rises. They walk along the right wall again, past the bowl, past the small bronze horse. They reach the bell. They stand near it. They have already written about the bell. They wanted to come back, so they have come back. They stand close. The amber light from the lamp, far across the chamber now, reaches the bell only faintly. The bell is mostly in shadow. Its green is mostly suggested. The keeper does not need the green to be bright. They know the green by heart. They turn and walk slowly back to the bench. They sit again. The fog above goes on. The town goes on. The museum overhead is closed and quiet. The keeper's coat is warm against their shoulders. Their hands are still cool from the iron-banded oak door. The lamp burns its small, steady leaf of light. The pencil rests in its tray. The log waits, open, on the bench. They take up the pencil. They write nothing for a moment. They look at the page. Then they write one line, very small. The line says that the chamber is as it was. The chamber is well. They set the pencil down. They sit. The bell hangs. The bowl sits. The horse stands. The iron pieces rest in their glass. The bronze plaque waits along the back wall. The keeper waits with all of them. After a while, they rise. They lift the lamp from its second stand. They carry it across the chamber, back to the first stand by the door. The amber pool moves with them. The shadows shift. The metal pieces sink back slowly into their own quieter selves. The keeper places the lamp on the first stand. They take up the leather log. They tie its linen cord. They tuck the log under their arm. They take up the lamp again by its tall brass handle. They take a slow breath in. They take a slow breath out. They turn toward the small archway in the back wall. The archway leads to the third iron-banded oak door, a short stone passage of perhaps 6 paces. The keeper walks the 6 paces slowly. The lamp's amber light reaches just to the third door before the keeper does. They stop in front of the door. They take the third small iron key from its peg. They fit the key in the lock. They turn it slowly. The lock makes its small, low sound. The door eases inward. The air on the other side is changed again. This time, the change is greater. The keeper stands at the threshold. They breathe once, evenly. They step through. The third chamber is cooler. The air carries a different weight. It is a cool that has the taste of stone water in it. A mineral cool. The smell is mostly stone, with a thread of damp underneath. There is no paper here. There is no metal. The third chamber holds the slowest things. The things that are still alive in their own way. The things that change so slowly that watching them is itself the change. The keeper steps fully in. They place the lamp on the wooden stand just inside the door. The third chamber's first stand has held the lamp for many keepers before this one. The amber pool finds its place. The chamber waits. The acoustic of the chamber is the third of three. The first chamber was dry, paper soft. The second chamber was deep, full, metal quieted. The third chamber is the most resonant. The stone is bare. The walls are bare. There is no wood on the walls, only stone. Sound carries longer here. The smallest sound rests in the air a moment before it goes. And then it comes from somewhere in the high ceiling. A single drop of water. It falls. It strikes the stone basin set in the chamber's center. The sound is small. The sound is whole. It rings the chamber softly once, and then the chamber holds the sound and lets the sound go and is quiet again. The keeper does not move. They have heard this drop many, many times. It falls every few minutes, sometimes longer between, sometimes shorter. They have given up trying to count. The drop is the chamber's pulse, the chamber's slow heartbeat. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The drop falls again in time. The keeper steps further in. The third chamber is smaller than the other two. It is roughly square. In its center stands a low stone basin hewn from a single block. Above the basin, set into the ceiling, is the small mouth of a slow seep that has been seeping for as long as anyone has known. Below the basin, on the stone floor, is the slow, slow shape of a stalagmite. The stalagmite has grown a little in the keeper's lifetime. Not much. A finger's width, perhaps less. The keeper walks slowly to the basin. They stand beside it. They do not touch it. They look down. The basin holds a thin film of water. The water is still. The water is cool. The water has been here always. The seep above is too slow to fill the basin in any season. The basin holds the water it holds. The water holds the basin. After a slow moment, the drop falls. It strikes the water in the basin. A small ring spreads outward. The ring reaches the edge of the basin. The ring fades. The water is still again. The keeper watches the ring fade. They do not write yet. They only watch. They step around the basin. To the right of the basin, against the wall, stands a tall glass box on a wooden plinth. The The box holds a slow-grown crystal. The crystal is the size of a small loaf. It is pale, with cloudy white edges and a clear heart. The crystal has been in this glass box for many decades. It grows so slowly that the keeper, who has watched it through years, can only sometimes say a difference at all. The crystal sits. The keeper stands. The amber light of the lamp across the chamber finds the crystal faintly. Small, soft glints rest in its surface. The keeper looks at the crystal for a long time. They do not write. They walk to the small bench by the door where the log lies open. They take up the pencil. They write a single line. The line says that the crystal is as it was. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They return to the crystal. They look again. The drop falls. The chamber softens around the sound. The stalagmite in the center has not moved. The stalagmite will not move for many lifetimes. The keeper looks at the stalagmite. Its surface is wet. The wet keeps it growing. The growing is too slow to see. The keeper has only the leather log's old entries, and the entries say, in different hands across different decades, that the stalagmite is now perhaps a finger's width taller than it was when the chamber was opened. They walk to the left wall. Against the left wall stands another tall glass box. This box holds a piece of slowly petrifying wood. The wood was placed here long ago. It has been turning slowly to stone. Some of its grain is still wood. Some of its grain has gone hard and mineral. The change is uneven. The change is not finished. The change will not finish in any one keeper's life. The keeper looks at the petrifying wood. They look at the line where wood meets stone. The line has moved. The line moves so slowly that even decades of looking can only sometimes name where the line has gone. The keeper writes a small line in the log. The line says that the wood is as it was, with the small note that the lower edge has perhaps gone harder by a fraction since the entry of 2 summers ago. They mark the date. They set the pencil down. They return to the wood. They look. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper steps to the back wall. The back wall holds 3 small pedestals, each with a small piece of slow stone in a glass case. One is a piece of slow-forming amber, in which a tiny seed has been held since long before any keeper. One is a piece of stone whose surface is slowly being eaten by an old lichen, kept here in its glass case to die its slow stone-eating death over the next 100 years. One is a small geode, opened long ago, in which a few crystals have grown a hair longer in the dark. The keeper walks the 3 pedestals. They look at each in turn. They write a small line for each in the log. The lines are short. The pencil whispers softly on the paper. The drop falls. The chamber holds the sound. The keeper returns to the bench. They sit. The bench in the 3rd chamber is built into the stone wall, like the metal benches in the 2nd chamber, but smaller. The keeper sits with their back against the stone. The stone is cool. The stone has always been cool. The lamp burns. The chamber rests. The drop falls. The keeper closes the leather log gently. They tie its linen cord. They sit a long while. They are not in a hurry. Time itself is the chamber's principal artifact. The slow seep above, the slow stalagmite below, the slow crystal in its box, the slow petrifying wood, the slow lichen on its slow stone, the slow keeper sitting on the slow bench, breathing slowly. Everything in the chamber is in time with the slowest possible time. The drop falls. The keeper breathes out. They look across the chamber at the basin. The water in the basin holds its small film. The keeper looks at the basin's edge, where centuries of slow water have rounded the stone almost imperceptibly. Almost, not quite. The rounding is real. The rounding is so slow, it is also almost not real. The drop falls. The keeper closes their eyes. They do not sleep. They simply close their eyes for a long moment. They open them. The chamber is the same chamber. The lamp is the same lamp. The drop, when it next falls, is the same drop. They rise slowly. They walk to the basin once more. They stand beside it. They look down. The water is still. The drop falls. The ring spreads. The ring reaches the edge. The ring fades. The water is still again. The keeper does not move. They have watched this happen many times. They will watch it happen many more. walk slowly back to the bench. They sit again. The lamp's amber pool steadies across the floor. The crystal is to their right. The petrifying wood is to their left. The basin and the stalagmite are in front of them. The amber light reaches all of these only faintly. The chamber is mostly its own quiet darkness, with only the small near pool of amber where the keeper sits with the leather log on their lap. The keeper sits. They breathe slowly. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The fog above presses on without complaint. The town overhead is closed and quiet. The museum overhead is closed and quiet. The keeper, beneath all of this, is the only moving thing in a room of very nearly motionless things, and they too are very nearly motionless. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper rests with it. Some time passes. The keeper does not measure it. The lamp's flame leans ever so faintly in some small movement of air the keeper cannot quite locate. The flame steadies again. The amber pool holds. The drop falls. The chamber softens around it. The keeper stands. They walk slowly to the crystal in its glass box. They look at it from a closer angle than before. The amber lamp light from across the chamber only faintly reaches the crystal. Most of the crystal is in shadow. The cloudy white of its edges has settled into the soft white of distant snow. The clear heart of the crystal holds a small dim gleam, like a candle seen through a long window in fog. The keeper has known this crystal for many years. They look at the crystal the way one looks at the moon, with no need to ask anything, with only the looking. The crystal holds its slow shape. The keeper holds their slow looking. The drop falls. They turn from the crystal. They walk slowly to the petrifying wood. They look at it from this closer angle. The wood's grain is still visible at the upper edge. The lower edge has gone hard and mineral. The middle is the long, slow place where wood is becoming stone. The change is the work of centuries. The keeper has only seen a fraction of the change. They will only see a fraction more. The wood is patient. The keeper is patient. The chamber is patient. They walk back to the bench. They sit. The drop falls. They breathe slowly. The lamp burns. The chamber rests. The keeper looks down at the leather log on their lap. The log is closed. The linen cord is tied. The day's small entries are inside, in their small, careful lines. The log will go back into its drawer in the first chamber when the keeper is ready to leave. The leaving is not yet. The leaving is far off. The keeper has no urgency. They will sit here as long as the chamber asks them to. The drop falls. The keeper closes their eyes. They open them. The chamber is the chamber. The drop falls. The chamber is the chamber. A small thought, almost not a thought, drifts at the edge of the keeper's mind. The thought is that everything in this chamber is changing. Slowly, but changing. The crystal is growing. The wood is petrifying. The stalagmite is rising. The lichen is eating its stone. The basin is being rounded. Even the stone walls of the chamber, given long enough, are settling, drying, smoothing. Nothing here is not changing. The change is so slow that to a single life it looks like stillness. But the stillness is a slowness. The slowness is a kind of breathing. The thought drifts away. The keeper is left only with the chamber, the lamp, the drop. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper breathes. They reach for the small flask of lamp oil that lives in a niche above the stand by the door. They rise. They walk to the niche. They take down the small flask. They walk to the lamp. They unscrew the small brass cap on the lamp's reservoir. They pour a thin, slow stream of pale yellow oil into the reservoir. They watch the level rise to the small mark inside. They stop pouring. They screw the cap back into place. They walk back to the niche. They place the flask in its niche. They walk back to the bench. They sit. The lamp burns brighter for a moment. The flame steadies into its new fullness. The amber pool deepens. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper rests with it. A long while passes. The keeper does not measure it. The chamber does not need it measured. The lamp burns its slow, small, full flame. The drop falls. The chamber holds. The keeper sits with their back against the cool stone wall and lets the slowness settle into them. They look across the chamber at the basin. The basin is a dim shape in the amber pool. water in the basin is invisible from the bench, but the keeper knows it is there. They know the small film, the still surface, the patient way it has held the same drops for years upon years. The drop falls. A new ring spreads in water the keeper cannot see, but knows is rippling, then knows is still again. The drop falls, the chamber rests. The keeper rises again slowly. They walk to the basin. They lean down. They look at the water. The water is still. The basin's stone is dark and slow. The keeper does not touch the water. They have not touched it in years. They only look. They look at the rounded edge where the centuries have softened the stone by an almost not amount. They look at the dark mineral surface beneath the thin film. The drop falls. The ring spreads. The keeper sees the ring this time. The ring fades. The water is still. They straighten. They walk slowly back to the bench. They sit. The drop falls. They breathe out slowly. They breathe in slowly. The cool of the chamber settles into them, but it does not chill them. The wool of their coat holds the small heat their body has made. The lamp's amber pool is warm at its center. The keeper is warm at their center. The chamber is cool around them. Everything is in its proper temperature. The keeper sits with the leather log on their lap. They look at it. They do not open it. They do not need to. The day's entries are written. The day's looking has been looked. The chamber has been walked. The slow things have been noted in the small, careful way they ask to be noted. The keeper has done the work. The work is done. The drop falls. The chamber rests. They look at the lamp. The amber flame leans 1/8 of an inch in some small movement of air. The flame steadies. The keeper watches the flame for a long moment. The flame is a small leaf of light. The leaf is steady. The leaf burns. The wick draws oil. The wick gives back light. The leaf burns. The keeper watches. A long quiet settles. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper rises one last time slowly. They walk to the petrifying wood. They stand near it. They place their open hand briefly against the cool glass of the box. They do not press. They only rest the hand there for a moment, the way one rests a hand against a sleeping thing. The glass is cool. The wood inside is itself. The keeper takes their hand away. They walk slowly back to the bench. They sit. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper does not rise again. They sit. The lamp burns. The crystal sits in its box. The wood sleeps in its box. The basin holds its film of water. The stalagmite stands in its slow shape. The lichen continues its slow stone eating. The geode continues its slow crystal growing. Everything in the chamber is doing its slow work. The keeper is doing theirs, which is to be here and to watch and to rest and to breathe. The drop falls. The keeper breathes out. The drop falls. The keeper breathes in. The drop falls. The keeper rests. The chamber's silence is a wide silence, wider than the silence of the first chamber, wider than the silence of the second. The third chamber's silence has stone in it, and water in it, and the long slowness of growing things in it. The keeper is held inside the silence. The silence is held inside the chamber. The chamber is held inside the vault. The vault is held inside the closed museum. The museum is held inside the foggy town. Everything is held by something larger and slower than itself. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper sits. Time in the third chamber is a long thing. It is not the time of the keeper's coat warming on their shoulders. It is not the time of the lamp's flame leaning and steadying. It is the time of the stalagmite, the time of the petrifying wood, the time of the crystal growing one breath of mineral at a time over 100 years. The keeper feels this time around them. They do not resist it. They let it hold them. They let their own shorter time become a small, still place inside the longer time of the room. The drop falls. A small ring spreads in the basin. The ring fades. The water is still. The keeper looks again at the lamp. The amber leaf of light is steady. The wick is even. The reservoir is full. The lamp will burn for a long time yet. The keeper will not need to refill it again tonight. The lamp will burn until the keeper is ready to leave. The leaving is not yet. The keeper has more time in the chamber. They mean to spend it. They sit with their back against the cool stone wall. They look at the basin. They look at the dim shape of the stalagmite rising from the floor. They look at the small, tall glass box on the right wall where the crystal sleeps. They look at the small, tall glass box on the left wall where the petrifying wood sleeps. They look at the 3 small pedestals along the back wall. They look at all the slow things at once. They do not look at anyone. They simply hold them all in a single soft looking. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper closes their eyes for a long moment. The lamp's amber light on the inside of their eyelids is a faint, warm orange. They breathe. They open their eyes. The chamber is the chamber. The lamp is the lamp. The drop, when it falls, is the drop. A small kindness comes to them. A small kindness in the form of a thought. The thought is that the chamber will be here tomorrow. The chamber will be here next week. The chamber will be here in a year. The chamber will be here in 10 years, and 100, and 1,000. Other keepers will sit on this bench. Other lamps will burn on this stand. Other drops will fall in this basin. The slow things will go on slowly being. The keeper is one in a long line of keepers. The line continues, slow as the stalagmite, patient as the wood. The keeper takes the thought in. They let it settle. They breathe. The drop falls. The chamber rests. They open the leather log briefly. They do not write. They turn back through the recent pages. They look at the small entries from the visit before this one. They look at the small entries from the visit before that. The entries are all in the same patient hand. They are all small. They are all careful. They all say, in slightly different small wordings, that the slow things are as they were. The keeper looks at the entries the way one looks at a row of small lit candles. They close the log gently. They tie the linen cord. They place the log on the bench beside them. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper sits with their hands open on their knees. The hands are cool. The keeper's breathing has slowed further. They are not asleep. They are awake, but slow. The slow chamber has moved into them. They have moved into the slow chamber. The boundary between keeper and chamber, never sharp, has gone softer still. They look at the basin once more. The drop falls. The ring spreads. The ring fades. The water is still. The lamp burns. The amber pool steadies. The chamber holds. The keeper does not move. They breathe slowly. The drop falls. They breathe slowly. The drop falls. They breathe slowly. A long quiet. A very long quiet. The lamp burns through it. The chamber rests through it. The keeper sits through it. The drop falls when the drop falls. After a while, the keeper rises one more time. They walk slowly to the lamp. They turn the small brass key at its side a quarter turn, lowering the wick by a small amount. The amber leaf of light becomes a little smaller. The amber pool draws in a little. The shadows at the edges of the room come a little closer. The keeper steps back. They walk slowly to the bench. They sit. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp's lower light makes the chamber softer still. The crystal in its box is barely visible now. The petrifying wood is barely visible. The basin is a dim, soft shape in the middle of the floor. The stalagmite is a dim, soft shape rising from the floor. The keeper is a dim, soft shape sitting on the bench against the wall. Only the lamp itself is a clear, small thing, with its small, clear leaf of light at its small, clear wick. Everything else has gone soft. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper breathes. They feel the cool stone against their back. They feel the wool of their coat across their shoulders. They feel the leather log closed beside them on the bench. They feel the slow chamber around them. They feel the slow drop. They feel the slow lamp. They feel themselves slowing. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper does not rise. They sit. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. The slow things continue their slow work. Outside, the fog continues its slow settling. Above ground, the town sleeps in its softness. The museum sleeps in its closed quiet. The vault sleeps in its 3 chambers. The keeper sleeps without sleeping in the slow chamber on the slow bench beneath the slow lamp. The drop falls. The chamber rests. A very long while. The keeper sits. The lamp burns lower by the small amount the keeper has lowered it. The amber pool is small. The chamber is mostly soft dim. The slow things rest in their slow shapes. The keeper rests in their slow shape. The drop falls when the drop falls. The keeper does not measure the time. The chamber does not need it measured. The chamber has only its slow time, and the slow time has only the chamber. The keeper sits inside the slow time. The slow time sits inside the keeper. The drop falls, the chamber rests. They lean their head back against the cool stone wall. The stone is cool, but not cold. The stone has been cool for a very long time. The stone will be cool for a very long time more. The keeper rests their head against this long cool. They breathe slowly. They close their eyes for a longer moment. They open them. The chamber is the chamber. The drop, when it falls, is the drop. The lamp burns, small and steady. The drop falls, the chamber rests. The keeper does not rise, they sit. The lamp burns, the chamber holds. The slow things rest, the drop falls. A small soft thought, almost not a thought, that the chamber's pulse, the slow drop, has been the chamber's pulse for many lifetimes. That before this keeper came, the drop fell. That after this keeper goes, the drop will fall. The drop is older than the keeper. The drop is older than the keeper's keeper, and that keeper's keeper, and so on back through the lineage. The drop is the chamber's slow constant. The keeper is a small visitor inside the constant. The keeper is glad of this. The keeper is grateful to be small inside something so slow. The thought drifts away. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper sits. The lamp burns lower. The chamber softens further. The keeper softens with it. The drop falls. The keeper does not move. The chamber holds. A very long while. Time has gone soft at its edges. The keeper does not know how long they have been sitting. They do not need to know. The chamber knows in its own slow way. The chamber will keep what time it keeps. The keeper has only their breathing and the small leaf of amber light and the slow drop in the basin and the slow shapes of the slow things in their slow shapes. The drop falls, the chamber rests. A small adjustment in the keeper's posture. Their right hand has slipped down into their lap. They do not move it. The hand rests where it has fallen. Their left hand rests on the bench beside the leather log. The log is closed. The cord is tied. The pencil rests in its tray on the small wooden stand by the door where they placed it earlier. The pencil rests. The log rests. The keeper rests. The drop falls. The chamber rests. They look at the basin. They look at the dim shape of the stalagmite. They look at the dim shape of the crystal box. They look at the dim shape of the wood box. The slow things are barely shapes now in the lower light. They are mostly known by the keeper because the keeper knows where they are. The chamber is known by the keeper because the keeper has known the chamber for a long time. The keeper does not need to see a thing to know it is there. The drop falls. The chamber rests. A small kindness in the cool stone behind their head. The cool of the stone is not unpleasant. The cool of the stone is companionable. The stone has been here a very long time. The keeper has been here for a sliver of that time. The stone holds the keeper without effort. The keeper rests against the stone without effort. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper breathes slowly. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. A small thread of slow seep continues somewhere above in the unseen ceiling. The drop is forming slowly on the tip of some small mineral place in the ceiling. The drop is gathering its small weight. The drop is becoming heavier. The drop is approaching the moment. The drop has not yet fallen. The drop is held by surface tension and slow gravity. Then, in its own small time, the drop falls. The drop strikes the basin. The ring spreads. The ring fades. The water is still. The keeper has watched this kind of forming many times. They cannot see the forming, only the falling. But they know it. They know the slow gathering of weight. They know the held moment. They know the small release. They know the ring. They know the still. The drop falls. The chamber rests. They breathe slowly. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. A very long quiet. The keeper does not move. The lamp burns. The drop falls when the drop falls. The chamber softens further. The keeper softens with it. The keeper closes their eyes. The lamp's small amber light on the inside of their eyelids is a faint, warm glow. They do not open their eyes for a long while. They do not need to. The chamber is the chamber. The drop, when it falls, is the drop. The lamp burns small and steady. A drop falls. The keeper does not see the ring. They hear it. They feel the small still that comes after. A drop falls. The keeper does not see the ring. They hear it. They feel the small still that comes after. A drop falls. The keeper does not see the ring. They hear it. They feel the small still that comes after. The chamber rests. The keeper rests. The lamp burns. They open their eyes slowly. The chamber is the chamber. The amber pool is smaller than it was. The lamp is burning lower, slowly, on its own. The keeper does not refill it. They do not raise the wick. They let it go down at its slow pace. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper rests. They sit. They breathe slowly. The drop falls. The lamp burns low. The amber pool is small. The chamber softens around the small light. The slow things sit in their slow shapes. The basin holds its film of water. The stalagmite holds its slow shape. The crystal sleeps. The wood sleeps. The keeper sits. The drop falls. The chamber rests. A long quiet. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. The keeper does not move. Their hands rest. Their shoulders rest. Their head rests against the cool stone. The wool of their coat is warm. The stone is cool. Everything is in its proper temperature. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper breathes. The breathing is slow. The lamp's flame leans. The flame steadies. The keeper breathes. The drop falls. A long quiet again. is very small now. The chamber is mostly soft dim. The slow things are barely shapes. The keeper is barely a shape. The lamp itself is the only clear small thing in the room. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper sits. A small thought drifts. The thought is gentle. It is that nothing needs to be done, that everything in the chamber is already as it should be, that the slow things are slowly being, that the keeper is slowly being, that the drop is doing its own slow work, that the lamp is doing its own slow work, that the chamber is doing its own slow work. The thought drifts away. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper breathes. The lamp burns. A long while, a very long while. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper closes their eyes again. They do not open them. The amber light on the inside of their eyelids is a faint, warm glow. The glow softens further. The keeper does not move. A drop falls. The keeper hears it without exactly hearing it. The small ring in the basin spreads in the quiet. The keeper does not see it. The ring fades. The water is still. A drop falls. The keeper breathes out. A drop falls. The keeper breathes in. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A long while. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. The slow things rest in their slow shapes. The keeper rests in their slow shape. A drop falls. The chamber softens. The lamp burns lower. The amber pool draws in. The shadows come a little closer at the edges of the room. The keeper does not move. A drop falls. The keeper breathes. The chamber rests. The lamp burns. A small, soft kindness settles on the keeper. The kindness is the chamber holding them. The chamber has held many keepers. The chamber holds this one tonight. The keeper is held. They do not need to do anything. A drop falls. The keeper rests. The chamber rests. The lamp burns. A long quiet, a very long quiet. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper breathes slowly. Their breathing is small and even. Their hands rest in their lap. Their shoulders rest against the stone. Their head rests against the stone. The wool of their coat is warm. The stone is cool. The lamp is small. The chamber is soft. A drop falls. The keeper does not stir. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper sits inside the slow time of the room. The slow time holds them. The slow things rest. The lamp burns. The drop falls. A long quiet. A drop falls. The chamber softens. The keeper softens with it. A drop falls. The amber pool steadies, very small. The keeper breathes. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A long quiet. A very long quiet. The chamber waits. The keeper waits. The drop falls when the drop falls. The lamp burns lower. The amber pool is now only a small near thing around the lamp itself. The keeper on the bench is mostly in soft dim. The slow things are mostly in soft dim. The chamber is mostly soft dim. Only the small leaf of amber light remains clear. A drop falls. The keeper does not stir. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A small leaf of light. A small, slow drop. A small, still chamber. A small, still keeper. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns. The keeper rests. The vault holds. The fog above presses softly on the closed museum. The town sleeps in its softness. The chambers sleep in their slow shapes. The slow things sleep in their slow shapes. The keeper sleeps without sleeping, eyes closed, breathing small. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A long quiet. The lamp burns lower still. The amber pool is a small, soft circle around the lamp. The keeper's breath is small and slow. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A long quiet. The keeper does not move. A drop falls. The chamber softens. A drop falls. The chamber softens further. A drop falls. The chamber softens further still. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault holds. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns small and slow. A drop falls. The keeper breathes. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The vault is patient. The slow things are patient. The keeper is patient. The lamp is small and warm. The stone is cool and slow. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper rests. The lamp burns. A drop falls. A drop falls. A drop falls. The chamber holds. The lamp burns small. The keeper rests. The vault is still. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. The keeper rests against the cool, slow stone. The wool of their coat is warm. The stone is cool. Their breath is small and even. Their hands are still. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A long quiet. The chamber softens. The lamp softens. The keeper softens. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault holds. The slow things rest in their slow shapes. The crystal sleeps. The wood sleeps. The stalagmite holds its slow shape. The basin holds its film of water. The lichen does its slow work. The geode does its slow work. Everything is doing its own slow work, very slowly, all at once, all together. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A long quiet again. The lamp's leaf of light is very small now. The amber pool is very small. The keeper does not move. The chamber does not move. The drop falls when the drop falls. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A small, soft warmth in the keeper's chest. a small, soft slowness in the keeper's breathing. The keeper is not exactly asleep. The keeper is not exactly awake. The keeper is in the slow time of the chamber, which is its own kind of rest. A drop falls. The chamber softens. A drop falls. The chamber softens further. A drop falls. The chamber softens further still. The lamp burns small. The amber pool is small. The shadows are soft. The slow things are soft. The keeper is soft. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A long quiet. A very long quiet. The chamber waits in its slow patience. The slow things wait in their slow patience. The lamp waits in its small, steady patience. The keeper waits with all of them. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is patient. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper does not move. They are very still. Their breath is small. Their hands are still. The chamber holds them. The lamp burns small. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault holds. A long quiet. The chamber softens. The lamp softens. The keeper softens. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A long quiet. A very long quiet. Time itself softens. The slow things rest in their slow shapes. The lamp burns small. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A long quiet. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns small. The amber pool is very small. The chamber is mostly soft dim. The slow things are barely shapes. The keeper is barely a shape. The lamp is the only clear small thing. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A long quiet. A very long quiet. The chamber holds. The slow things hold. The lamp holds. The keeper holds. A drop falls. The chamber softens. A drop falls. The chamber softens further. A drop falls. The chamber softens further still. A drop falls. The lamp burns small. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. The slow things rest. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. The vault holds. The fog presses softly on the museum above. The town sleeps in its softness. The vault sleeps in its slow shapes. The chambers sleep. The slow things sleep. The keeper sleeps without sleeping, very still, breathing small. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns small and slow. The keeper does not stir. The vault is patient. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault holds. A long quiet. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp is small. The chamber is soft. The slow things are slow. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns small. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. The drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns. The keeper rests. The vault holds. The slow things are slow. The chamber is soft. The lamp is small. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. The lamp burns small. The amber leaf of light steadies. The wick draws oil. The wick gives back light. The leaf burns. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A long quiet, a very long quiet. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The slow things sit in their slow shapes. The crystal in its glass box. The wood in its glass box. The stalagmite on the floor. The basin with its film of water. The lichen on its slow stone, the geode with its slow crystals, all of them slow, all of them resting. A drop falls, the chamber rests. A drop falls, the lamp burns small. A drop falls, the keeper rests. A drop falls, the vault holds. The fog softens the town above. The town softens around the museum. The museum softens around the vault. The vault softens around the chambers. The chambers soften around the slow things. The slow things soften in their slow shapes. The keeper softens with the chamber. A drop falls, the chamber rests. A drop falls, the chamber rests. A drop falls, the chamber rests. A long quiet. The lamp burns. The amber pool is small. The chamber is soft. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is patient. A long quiet, a very long quiet. The chamber holds. The slow things rest. The lamp burns small. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber softens. A drop falls. The chamber softens further. A drop falls. The chamber softens further still. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The vault holds. A long quiet. The chamber rests. The lamp is small. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber holds. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The lamp burns small. The keeper rests. The vault holds. The slow things are slow. The chamber is soft. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is patient. A long quiet. The chamber softens. The lamp softens. The keeper softens. A drop falls. The chamber rests. The keeper rests. The lamp burns. The vault holds. A drop falls. A long quiet. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns small. A drop falls. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The vault is still. The lamp burns. The chamber holds. The keeper rests. A drop falls. The chamber rests. A drop falls. The lamp burns. A drop falls. The keeper rests. The vault is still.